Hello everybody, how you doing? Let's jump right into this. This guy's name is George Lamontre, and he was a Catholic priest, cosmologist, and a scientist. He was the one who proposed the very idea of what the Big Bang Theory is today. Now the reason why that is because all Vatican Catholic priests are occultists. Simple as that. And they deal with astrology all the time. That is why they have their own telescopes. Okay? And I'm going to prove it here today. Alright? There's a reason why, and most scientists are occultists, there's a reason why that Albert Einstein said science without religion is lame and religion without science is blind. Because it's basically one. You understand what I'm saying? When we talk about the Bible, we're talking about the astrological process within you. Okay? But when we talk about astrology, we're talking about the astrological process outside of you, which is the same thing. That's why the ancients would look at the stars to know what time or era they were in, or the rise and fall of civilizations. Because when you look at the stars, you're looking at yourself. That's it. But you have the ability to go beyond the stars and beyond space and time. I explained that in my dark energy is melanin. So if you want to know more about that, go watch that. Now, I know by the title, there's religious people who are going to be coming on here and saying that, yeah, those are demons, Satan's minions and all that. Now, in my video, Etymology for the Religious, I mention that I look up I show the etymology for the word Satan, and it's not what they tell you in church. So, if you want to know about that, I suggest you use this etymology dictionary, which is very useful if you guys want to look up certain words and all that. Mind you, they don't have all the words that you might look up. They might not have everything, but I guarantee they have the very important ones if you're going to have any debates with anybody, any of your family members about this occult practice or religious or what's going on in our world spiritually. Now, demon comes from a Latin word daemon, which means spirit. From Greek, daemon, deity or divine power. Now, remember that what you call evil, like these priests and all that, because there's people who are in this, like who are Christian, but they tell them that the Catholic priests in the Vatican are all satanic and they're Satanists and all that. No, they're just dealing with for a lack of a better description, I want to say the dark side of the spiritual realm, basically. And they're feeding the beast side of that. That's why in the Bible it talks about, that's why I say, in the Bible when it says Cain killed Abel, we're talking about the physical killed the spiritual. You see what I'm saying? That side. That's why most people only deal with the physical. Most people can't even fathom the spiritual. Ask the average person. If you can even fathom even 25% of this, you're already there. You understand what I'm saying? Most people who are in this, though, they fathom more than just 25%. Okay, I know most of y'all thinking like wizards. You know what I'm saying? And you're there. You're there. All right? But as you can see, they're basically messing with lesser gods. It also means lesser gods and guiding spirit. They're messing with other entities. That's basically what it is. And these entities always existed with us. Okay, that's why the Vatican is holding a conference. They held a conference, I think in like 2009 or 10, about possible alien life. because they're trying to condition the public for when these entities start showing up. Because remember, we're on a certain frequency, and at a certain point in time, we were on the same frequency as these entities, and we didn't have these physical bodies. We were beyond the physical, and we probably had different names too. Okay, but we fell down to this physical form. Whether you think it's a test or we're learning and all that, that's I would have to get into that in a different video. But as you can see here, it also means one's genius, lot, or fortune. Because remember, that's why you think people can get possessed, because our world is corresponding with the physical. With the spiritual, or antimatter, if you want to get into the scientific term. I explained that in Time Travel is Possible. Mishimu Mukaku explains how everything is happening at once. The dinosaurs, the Civil War, and all that, it's just on a different frequency. If you change your frequency, then you change your reality. Okay? So you can either change your frequency to go into a different time or a different dimension. Okay? So let's get into this here. So like I said, I just want to, again, so when people get possessed, it's basically dealing with a different, what's the word I'm looking for? Altered state of mind. There we go. It's an altered state of consciousness. Okay, when people get possessed. Okay, now they made either agreements with these entities to do that, which has been going on for the last, I don't know how long. It's probably eons. Because remember, it never really disparted. We basically just change realities where they can see us, but we can't see them, and they can contact with us, and we always been in contact. They always been around us, because like I said, we've been on that plane at that time, and it's corresponding with our physical world. So whatever you do, the spiritual world is corresponding with that. So people are like, oh, anything I do, like going to the bathroom, yep. I know it sounds messed up, but this goes beyond mortal thinking and human rationality. You understand what I'm saying? So, again, we are made up of the stars. Simple. Anything's possible. Okay? So when we talk about this, you're talking about just tapping into your own spiritual genius. You're tapping into who you really are. You think you are the body, but you're really not. Remember, this thing ain't even real. If you go watch my video, We're All Atoms. Atoms is 99.9% empty space. Okay? Now, look at this. The Vatican hosts a conference on possibility of alien life. Okay? As you can see. Now, I suggest you guys to go watch this brother's video and all that. Okay? And just watch that. But as you can see, the Vatican has telescopes, and they've been observing for a while now. Now you see Fox News doing a report on this, right? You see that. And now we all know that the Vatican basically owns the whole damn world. Okay? Especially America. Okay? Well, that's, again, I gotta make another video for that to dabble within that realm. Because it all ties with each other. People can't make the connections because they don't think one thing is not relevant to the other. But everything is everything. Okay? Everything's everything. So, as you can see, they're hosting, this was in 2009, like I said, 2009, 2010, and they're hosting a conference. And they're hosting a conference because they're getting people ready for basically disclosure. Okay? That's what CERN's really even all about too. They're trying to open portals. And CERN's just not just for opening portals too. It's basically for weather manipulation, DNA it can alter DNA. And people are like, how's that even possible? Because it shoots out particular magnetic waves, and this will basically change our physiology. And I know people think that's crazy, but I would have to point you to a video called Resonance. You'll have to look at that. But I know I'll be going off topic and all that, but it's so much stuff, and it all ties into with each other. But look at this. Now, this is how I like how the news plays games with you. Now, remember, I just showed you the Vatican hosting conference, possibility of alien life. I'm going to put this in the description so you guys can watch the rest of this video. But then they put this. All right, now I'm going to let you watch this whole video and just hear what they say.
Was Iran taunting the U.S. over the sanctions negotiations. Now an Iranian news agency is making some other accusations about the U.S., and they're interesting. The Washington Post writes, FARS, which describes itself as Iran's leading independent news agency, claims documents leaked by Edward Snowden provide, quote, incontrovertible proof that an alien or extraterrestrial intelligence agenda is driving U.S. domestic and international policy. One Washington Post blogger wrote that while the story is entertaining and filled with bizarre conspiracy theories, quote, this is a reminder of how some hardliners see the world.
Okay, see? You see how they try to play you? Now, I just showed you. They're telling you the Vatican is hosting a conference on possibility of alien life. But yet, when Edward Snowden, if anybody doesn't know who he is, I suggest you look him up. He's a guy who basically was a contractor for the NSA, and he got information on, that the government is always looking at you through either your webcam phone or your regular webcam on your computer, or, stuff like that. Even these new TVs with webcams in them, flat screens, and listening to your phone calls. But Fox News is coming out and telling you that, and they do this because they're trying to shut down what he got, because he did hack that thing, the NSA, and people could be like, "Dang, is that the information they're hiding?" So they had to make that particular news story to have people, simmer down. That's what they do, because the news controls most of the public. We know that. So, as you can see, they downplayed it, and they have to make people look crazy. Because I think in America, 1 million people believe in UFOs. It's like 1 million or 2 million. I gotta look up the statistics again. But they're just trying to shut those people down, and those people believe in aliens and everything. So it is going on, and it's not just happening in this country. It's happening around the world. Okay, happening around the world now. Whether these beings, like I said, is entities, and these entities are basically taking over the psyches of certain people. Some people are giving them up. Some people they're cloning bodies, and they're letting these entities take over these clones. And the reason why these clones' bodies are deteriorating, because they cannot handle the energy of the entity, and that's why it deteriorates. But they're gonna make something now where that the entity, whatever they're in communion with, is able to come into our physical universe. And they're able to do this with the what people will call these grays too, because grays are not even they're not even real per se. They're biological robots. So I would assume that these are a more advanced habitable body for these entities to take over and all that. And the reason why they malfunction as well, because they either can't take the energy or it's just not suitable, you know what I'm saying, for the entity. It's kind of like that, what's that movie? Stargate Galactica, the movie when, remember the being came here and he said, oh, human bodies are the most easy to sustain. Okay? So, most of the time when you think a celebrity is dead, it was taken over by the entity, and they can't have people questioning, oh, how is he living for so long? So they really just go underground, or they have plastic surgery so they can resurface and all that. But a lot of people who you think are dead are not dead. Okay, they also have the technology for people to live beyond 100. I explained that in my other video. I show that in my video, the pineal gland, a pill for the pineal gland. So if you don't believe me, you can go look at that. But without further ado, let's get into this. Thunder Energies discovers invisible entities, because they got a new telescope. They invented a new telescope which can see antimatter. Now this guy's going to explain how they can see antimatter galaxies, and I believe he says antimatter civilizations. So that's pretty much the deal breaker there, folks. Okay? So we're dealing with beings that are most likely timeless and go beyond our comprehension. Just think about the most craziest thing you can think about. Any TV show, Justice League, any anime you think about, any crazy thing, think about that and times that by 100. And you got that. You got the very idea of what these things are and who we are. I'm talking mostly to the melanated beings of this planet. And if you don't know what the melanated beings are, is the original man and woman, and that's the black man and the black woman. Okay, but without further ado, let's jump right into this. Let's listen to what he says.
New instruments, therefore, dramatically enlarging our conception of the perceivable universe.
Oh, sorry.
The time of this breaking news, we humans believe that everything that exists up there is only what we can see with our eyes and with our optical instruments. Well, things have changed now, because we have established the existence of entities existing in our terrestrial environment. And these entities are completely invisible to our eyes as well as to our optical instruments, but are fully visible with new instruments, therefore dramatically enlarging our conception of the perceivable universe, with a far-reaching possibility of future development and discoveries that perhaps are beyond our imagination at this time.
The revolutionary Santilli telescope is designed to detect antimatter in deep space. By antimatter, we mean an entity with characteristics that are the exact opposite of ordinary matter, including the index of refraction of light, which is opposite. As you can see in the diagram, we have two telescopes, the Santilli and the Galileo. Now, if you look closely, you'll see that the only real difference between the two is the lens. Notice that the Galileo uses a convex lens, whereas the Santilli telescope uses a concave lens. Now, when ordinary light passes through the Galileo telescope with the convex lens. That lens focuses the light and can be recorded, or the image recorded, by a digital camera. Should antimatter light pass through the convex lens, it would merely be dispersed along the walls of the telescope and not be focused at all. Now, the exact opposite happens with the Santilli telescope. When antimatter light passes through the concave lens, it is then focused and provides an image that can be recorded by a digital camera.
All right, now I just want to pause that and say something on that. Basically, what they're doing is scribing. If you don't know what scribing is, it's basically when you look into like a crystal ball or a black mirror, and you keep concentrating until you see into the spirit realm. And basically, this is their way of seeing into the spirit realm. Now, like I told you, melanin, which is basically dark matter, and dark matter makes up the physical universe, which is basically a biological technology which exists in all black men and black women, which allows them to control the physical universe. That's why they were able to do certain things. Again, I explained that in Dark Energy Part 2. But as you can see, they're occultists, and they try to hide it by saying, "Oh, we're just trying to figure stuff out and all that." But that's exactly what they're doing. They're looking at, think of the night sky as just a giant black mirror. You understand what I'm saying? That's really just what it is. And think of the telescope as just an enhanced eye, basically. And that's exactly what they're doing. Okay? And these entities, they're communicating with them. How? I don't know. Most likely through binary code. Maybe the entities is having like all the stars being pressed, like I don't know. That's a little joke there, but it could be by signs, symbols, numbers, shapes. There's so many ways to communicate. Let me just skip ahead a little bit right here.
Indeed, space. But as we all know, Galileo telescope is today used for all sorts of terrestrial view. Our telescope had essentially the same fate, because it was originally conceived for the detection of antimatter galaxy way deep into space. However, to our great surprise, we discovered that our telescope can equally detect entities in our terrestrial environment that are completely invisible to our eyes, to our binoculars, or to Galileo telescope, but are fully visible in cameras attached to our telescope, for which reason we call them invisible terrestrial entities, ITE. We have detected at least two types of ITE. The first type, also called dark ITE, essentially consists of entities leaving a dark image in the background of digital cameras attached to our new telescope. And the second type, called bright ITE, essentially consists of entities leaving this time a bright image in the background of a digital camera attached to our telescope, often visible without any enlargement.
Okay, now you saw that. You saw how it was the bright ETs and then the dark ET, terrestrial, invisible terrestrial entities, ITEs. And this is just me going by their terminology. But as you can see, as above, so below, the duality, okay? And it's all about being balanced. You're not even supposed to be on either of the extremes, full of light, full of darkness. You're supposed to be at the balance, okay? So that you can experience both, but be above both all at the same time. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm going to let you guys watch the rest of the video. I'm going to put this in the link in the description. But as you can see, we are not alone. And I know some of you, if not most of you, have spiritual experiences and you can't talk to nobody about it, being friends or family and all that. But that's okay. That's okay. If you guys need someone to talk to, I'm going to also put my Facebook in the description. I'm willing to talk to anybody about their spiritual experiences. If you just need someone to talk to, that's it. But thank you for listening, and I hope you all look at this knowledge and really just figure out for yourself. You know, don't believe me. Like I said, I'm giving you the people who done the studies and the information, and I'm showing you. I'm not just talking, you know. I'm showing you that this ain't coming from me. But it is possible. So if you ever felt like things are not what it appears to be, you're right. Okay? Peace and love to the gods and goddesses.